everybody, this is Alan Moore, certified financial planner and founder of Serenity Financial Consulting. Thanks for joining me. So anytime I talk with clients about saving for their kids' college education, invariably 529 plans come up. We all hear a lot about 529 plans and they're kind of talked about, but we don't necessarily all know the rules associated with them. Every state has their own 529 plan, and that means they have their own rules, their own tax benefits, and everything else. So be sure you research your own state's 529 plan. I'm going to be talking today about Wisconsin's 529 plan. So our plan is called Edvest. You can check it out at Edvest, edvest.com. That is our state-run 529 plan. And they recently made the move from it being administered by Wells Fargo to TIAA-CREF, which was a really good move in my opinion because the investment options have gotten significantly cheaper. They've got a lot of index options, which basically means more money more money out of the return gets to stay in the account, which is always a good thing in my opinion. So the first question I always get is, what are the tax benefits of 529 plans? Are they fully deductible? What's the deal? In Wisconsin, you can deduct up to $3,000 of contributions per year per beneficiary. And this is only on your state tax deduction. Okay, there's no federal tax deduction ever on 529 plans. So basically, you can deduct $3,000 that you put in per beneficiary. If you're married, you can't put in 6. You can put in 3 per beneficiary or per child, whoever the money is for. But if you have 3 kids, you can put in $9,000. It is, again, only deductible for state taxation, but the growth within the plan will basically be tax-free for federal and state, and if you spend the money on eligible college expenses, you'll never pay taxes on the growth, which is wonderful. So it's a really cool advantage. If you take money out for non-eligible college expenses, you're going to get hit with federal and state taxation on the growth as well as a 10% penalty. So it's kind of a big hit. The next question I get is, but what if my child doesn't go to college, right? I'm saving all this money for their college. Since you're the account owner, you can actually change the beneficiary once per year. So if your child says, you know what, I don't want to go to college, or you decide you don't want to fund it, or whatever the reason, you can actually change the beneficiary to, a brother or sister, another child, to a niece or nephew, to even yourself. So you maintain control of the plan, which is great. But Susie's really smart, so I know she's going to get a scholarship. What then? So I hear this a lot too, that, my kid's really smart, and I really think they're going to get a scholarship. In Wisconsin, if your child gets a scholarship, you can actually withdraw or take a distribution from the 529 plan for the amount equivalent to the scholarship. So if Susie gets $10,000 scholarship, you can actually just take $10,000 out of the 529 plan, penalty free and tax free. So it's really neat. Another option is just leave the money alone and let them use that money for, let's say, graduate school or something like that. So I keep saying eligible college expenses. What are these, expenses? Essentially, it'll pay for tuition, fees, books, anything required equipment, so if they're taking chemistry and they've got to buy a lab coat, you can buy that out of the 529 plan. As well as they say certain room and board expenses. Room and board expenses has kind of a lengthy definition, but the short of it is if the student is full-time, you can pay for their dorm room and meal plan, things like that, out of the 529 plan if you want. And then how should you invest the money within the plan? In Wisconsin, we have some age-based options, which I really like. So I recommend you check out the age-based option and aggressive age-based option. Both of them work essentially that as the child gets older, it gets closer to college age, the percentage in stocks will go down and the percentage in bonds will go up, which is usually what we would want to see happen anyway. We don't want them to be 17 years old, a junior in high school, the market drops and their account balance tanks. So we want to get more conservative and less stock exposure over time. So those options will actually do that automatically for you. You don't even have to worry about it. So do I recommend 529 plans to everybody? No. I'm a big believer in you better have your emergency fund fully funded, and you need to be saving for retirement properly before you even consider saving for your kids' education. Now, everyone's goals are different, and that's totally up to you. But I'm not a proponent of automatically go open up a 529 plan. And there are other funding options that we can explore at a later time. And the other piece of all of this is I'm not convinced that college education is going to continue on the path that it's going. We've seen some new companies popping up that are offering really high quality college course credit, type classes like Coursera. Let me spell that correctly. It's Coursera, Coursera. You can find them at Coursera.org. They're basically taking professors out of UC Berkeley and like all these really high quality schools and having them teach classes online for free. So I don't know what the future holds for college. Unfortunately, my crystal ball is about as effective as everybody else's. So basically, we have to plan for today, and so that may involve using a 529 plan. And if things happen over time, we may need to make some adjustments. But that's what financial planning is all about. So, have you ever opened a 529 plan? I'd love to hear you share your experiences with, opening the plan and how it's gone. If you've had to take money out to, for your kids' education and things like that, definitely feel free to share in the comment section. So that's all I have for today. Thanks so much for joining me.